brick by brick and a stone by stone run. It wasn't done alone. Spirit is the welcome. You are listening to Menstruction. I go by a black perception of our relationship, right? We wouldn't know each other if not for that environment. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And sometimes I used to think about what if I had ended up at SCAD, because that was definitely one of my choices.
SCAD? What is SCAD?
But yes, I don't know what it stands for, but it's one of those. It's a visual arts college.
Oh, okay.
So it's over by Georgia Tech, I believe. University. And I don't regret coming to Morehouse, man, because I would have met you, would have met Ed, Mansa, all my brethren, right? So this is a great result of said decision.
Absolutely. You know what we got to start with, though, before we even get down to the nitty and the gritty, we got to start with most ridiculous lyrics I heard last week. Okay. So last week we discussed Jermaine Cole, song that he had. And this is actually, I guess coincidentally, still related to Cole because he's also on this song, but it's not his song he's featuring this time. But it's, the thing is, I'm not even criticizing. He gets a pass this time. He's not the one that threw me off. Okay. We're going to be talking about another fantastic artist that also just like sometimes says some things. I'm just like, you're taking me out of it. So today we're discussing the all too talented and absolutely gorgeous Ari Lennox. Okay.
Really?
And
Shea Butter Baby.
Yeah, and the song is Shea Butter Baby, actually. Because now it's a song that I really, really, really love how it sounds. I love the vibe and the sound, but I don't like the song. But I love the way it sounds. But what ruins the song for me is the lyrics. And to be honest, the lyrics they're not great. They're not great, and it just feels like it's such a missed opportunity because the song could have been spectacular because it has the elements. But when it comes to the lyrics, bro, oh God, I got let down. Even with Cole didn't save it. Cole didn't save it for me. I have to be honest. So I'm gonna read it to you. The part that I have to take issue with, and again, there are a couple parts in the song that I'm just like, but the one that really, really gets me. And Ari says, I'll just read the whole thing. So she says, "You're lost in the shape of my hips. Hope there is a move. If you're really down, we can find it. Lost in an alley, make love by a trash can." Now. Given the overall vibe of the song, right? And it's smooth and it moves, you're rocking with it. Cole's harmonizing at the beginning like it's his fucking song. It's just these things are going on. And clearly, this song, at least from what I believe, is, it's meant to be baby making music, right? It's got that. I mean, quite literally, the song is about, for the most part, at least my interpretation, is about a woman who's fairly heavily made up, and the sex that she's having is so aggressive that the makeup is fucking up the pillow, right? Because that's quite literally in the hook of the song. So it's like, that's what's going on in the song. So I was like, okay, cool. But I, for the life of me, cannot figure out who came up with the lyrics and why they thought that was going to make sense with that. It doesn't make sense at all. And when I know it and then I hear it, I'm just like, miss. Like we talked about last week, right? Where are the people that are supposed to be there to be like, hey, before you release that, before you go ahead and send that to the label, are you sure? Do we want to just restructure?
Now, to be fair, this is Ari Lennox, right? We already know what she's about. She's, you know, a lady freak, a lady freak.
Is she?
As gently
Are
as we
we?
could
Or
put it.
is that
Right.
confirmed? Do you know something I don't know?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna make any assumptions, but I am a listener of Ari Lennox's music, right? And when I say lady freak, I mean a gentle seamstress, right? When it comes to the baby making music,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
You know, so making love by a trash can, and also she was most likely singing it.
Yeah, that's
I
what makes it
personally
worse.
don't,
That makes it worse too. It's like, why are you trying to make it sound so supple? It's like, what the fuck are you saying though?
and it didn't rhyme. I think that's what really threw me
It did
off. You
not.
know,
Yeah, it doesn't even,
it's
and that's the thing. It doesn't even sound like the lyric just doesn't hit, but it also doesn't line up. Which again is the time where you're supposed to be like, this lyric doesn't work.
it's abrupt. It's very abrupt. We can agree on that. It's abrupt. But imagine the context, right? Imagine the context. You get so involved and passionate with your partner that even making love by a trash can is considered romantic. Now, if you think about Dreamville, they're all about being contrary. They're all about being contrary, man, against the
Sure.
norm. You're not gonna hear anybody. You're not gonna hear anybody from TDE say "make love" by a
Yeah,
trash
because
can.
they actually, have a checks and balances process with their lyrics. That's why. Yeah.
I'm sure we could find some very crazy things in SZA's catalog, but you're not gonna hear that in OVO either, right? Uh, Dreamville is just all about making you think because that line caught your attention, and we're talking about it. See, that's the thing about the indiscriminatory lines that we bring up on a week to week basis with these episodes. Though they may be abrupt, though they may be uncanny, we talk about them because of such relatableness. Can we agree on that?
No, we're not going to agree on that at all. I think that, yeah, it did get my attention, and that's the problem. It didn't get my attention for a good reason. It didn't get my attention because I was like, oh, damn, that was clever. That was interesting. That was unique. It got my attention because I didn't like it. It ruined the song.
Well, you still listen
No,
to
I
it.
don't.
You
I
stopped
did
listening
stop
to
listening to it because I don't like the song. Because it's just it feels unfinished. The song feels unfinished. It's one of those songs of many songs that are probably even hit songs that to me sound unfinished. Like they
I
needed
get
some
that.
more baking. They needed to go through a couple more rounds. Some things need to be taken out. Some things need to be put in. It sounds unfinished.
And I can't be mad at that. I don't, like I said in the beginning, I don't truly care for Shea Butter Baby. So perhaps that's also a reason in it. But it wouldn't be any fun for me not to be contrary to an obviously not very good line. Got to get in the brain of the artist and say, well, why would I say something like that?
Well, that's what we're here for, since no one in the industry cares enough to ask these questions. And that's why we are here today for another episode of Notable Quotables. I am your host, Black Velvet, and I'm joined by my co host, the all too talented, representing the Rocky Mountains out there in the Southwest, and one half of the all too over talented, underrated hip hop duo, the Hypnologist, Waladi Ali.
Thank you so much for having me. And I can confirm that I have not listened to an Ari Lennox song in a while. So this was refreshing for me. Thank you for having me, my brother.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I have to make it clear. There's no hate to Ari Lennox. I quite enjoy her music a lot. Her album, Age, Sex, Location, I think is the name of that album.
Yes, yeah.
That is a great album. I enjoyed that album. I listened to it a few times. So I don't. It's no hate for Ari. I don't think she's a bad artist at all. I just think that song is not finished, and That's just a great example of that fucking line. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Well, it went through hands, hoops, and it's relatively popular. So what do we know?
More than most, because we're talking about it. Today, we are taking our same critiques and analytical skills and putting it to our own work because that's only fair. If we're gonna flip it, then we gotta criticize our own stuff. So we're looking back at some of our old work, and today we are looking at a track from us, from the both of us today. Now, what year? What year was this released? Do we remember? This is
22.
22.
22.
Was it
Yes, sir.
really? Why? It seemed like
Yeah.
it was longer than that.
Oh no, no, 22, bro. It was the summer of 22. Now that I recall, June-ish, June-ish.
Okay. Um. Yeah, I'll take your word for it. It seemed like it released earlier than that in my head, but that yeah, sure, sure. For anybody that wants to hear more or get to sample and enjoy these tracks yourselves, they will be available on Patreon.
I love it. Okay, now the chorus is something that you had written and was performed by Idol Law. In the house of hip hop, we can never be disowned. They say at the top, you can start to feel alone. Say, I preach good words to them folks like church, but it's all sacrilegious texts and sermons from the serpent. Sermons from the serpent repeated various
Mm.
times. Okay, so just a quick tidbit on that, man. What did you have in mind with that line?
Yeah, I'm gonna explain quickly what I was aiming for in that chorus, but then I want you to explain when I wrote that chorus and I gave it to you and I said, "Hey, I want you to perform this part. I want to know what was going through your mind. What was your takeaway when I sent that over?" Because typically, when we work together, when it comes to like hooks or certain parts, I don't write them. I usually let you write your own stuff, right? Because I know that you got it. But in this case, I had written it and I knew, but I was like, you got to do it. It's got to be your voice. But effectively, what I'm saying in the chorus is like it's bringing that imagery all together. So I'm saying the house of hip hop, we can never be disowned. I'm saying we got that talent, we have that skill together. Um, and then I'm acknowledging something that both of us have said many times, which is we don't do this for fame. It's not about that. It's about the joy of the craft. So they say at the top, you can start to feel alone, and I'm just saying they say that, right? I don't know. I don't want to know what that feels like. I'll never know. I don't want to be at the top. That's for y'all to get. Just here to enjoy. Say I preach good words to them folks like church. I'm saying that a lot of people say that I use great words, right? And I bring great messages forward to people. But then I'm like, me being cheeky, I'm like, man, sometimes I just be corrupting people, though. You know, I'm just saying things. It's not all quality. Sometimes it's all sacrilegious texts and sermons from the serpent. May I use unconventional means. Basically, what I'm saying in that second portion is I use unconventional means to present greater ideas. That's all it is.
I love it. I love it. And that gives it a deeper layer for me as well, because the house of hip hop, what are we really saying to the people? And what is our end goal? To manipulate, to inspire. What is it?
Yeah.
Right. And I love that. And that definitely fed into the second verse that I had did, as it's effectively playing a character and getting the vibe of, okay, I see what we're talking about here. Would you like to move into that?
Yeah, yeah. But before we do that,
Oh, yes. Your
yeah,
question.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. So, what was going through my mind when you had given me that? It was surprising. I was like, okay, all right, you're giving me something to perform that he had written. And so I don't recall if there were stipulations that you had sent me, preferred stipulations, but I definitely do remember having a guidance with the hook. I remember toning down the pitch, right, to make it sound like some otherworldly figure was saying the first
Yeah.
parts, right? In the house of hip hop, we can never be disowned. And then the call and response. But they say at the time you can start to feel alone. Say I preach good words to the folks like church, but it's always like religion take the sermon from the servant, sermon from the servant. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So when I look back at that, I kind of feel like I had the intention subconsciously of the congregation wising up towards what the house of hip hop was preaching, you know, and that otherworldly figure was supposed to be like dominant, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yo, I'm telling you that the otherworldly figure's telling you, yeah, we're good. I'm giving you everything that you need. I got good words for you. But the congregations responded back like, well, I don't know. They say at the time you can start to feel alone. No, I don't think I believe that,
Right.
what you're saying. So that's the back and forth nature that I had caught from not only the chorus, but just the entirety of the song of questioning what you're told to believe. Just a nod towards your craftsmanship, my
Well,
friend.
that, and I think that's also a nod to our synergy. You know, that's just we're just here. Yeah, I'm interrupting. Give me a second. I wouldn't have to if you just did you subscribe yet? I'm sorry, I'm being rude. How's your day? Did you subscribe yet? Great. Did you get over to the pod? Yeah, the podcast, you know. Did you subscribe over there? Are you following on your favorite streaming platform? Ah, I see. Okay. Did you know there's a it's a Patreon where you get, the exclusive stuff, the tracks, the rest of the notable quotable episodes. Oh, you just know everything, huh? Okay, okay. Get back to it then.
Drake's gonna get this video taken down. We're gonna get sent a cease and desist.
Hey, that's fine. I write better than some of them boys over there, anyways.
It's really a 1v20.
Yikes. Now, for the Ida Law verse 2. This is where things get spicy. Now, I do recall when I had wrote my verse, sent it over to you. I do recall saying to you, like, I went in on my lyrical bag, right? I told you that the wordplay was going to be there. I told you that the alliteration was going to be there. I said the themes are going to be there. So I said, I'm challenging you. I need you to match or come heavier with that same energy because it's going to be there, right? And I wasn't bragging when I said it. It was just one of those things where it was like, it's a warning of what level we're operating on. So you took the assignment and you were like, say less. And you sent it back. And I was like, man, he showed up and he showed out, bro. Golly. I was feeling like Buster Rhymes when he did that track with Eminem. He was like, I went back and I rewrote it and I added some more bars and I added some more bars and I sent it back and M added some more bars.
Man, I mean, what an honor it is to hear that type of approval and gratification from you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. This is definitely on record one of my favorite feature verses that I've ever done. Ever. Oh my goodness. Indescribable.
Word. All right, so here we go. Check the polls because the vote is in. Yeah, I'm talking strip
Mm,
polls because that ass right for a kingpin. Speaking from
mm.
my old life, the plot of Eden. I know what these hoes like. That's why they're in my garden. Stop right there. First of all, let's talk about how smooth it rides. Because the vote is in, Kingpin, Eden. Oh, it's just delicious, right? Just how it flows with it. But then what are we talking about? He said check the polls because the vote is in. Okay, so we're talking democracy here. We're voting. Then he said scratch that. I'm talking about strip polls. What y'all talking about? I ain't talking about votes in democracies, suffrage. What are we talking about? Right. So just coming in with the juxtaposition right there amazing, right? Matching the energy, like I said earlier. They said, speaking from my old life. So he said, that's not even me anymore. I had to let y'all know that I was on that time. I was pimping, but that's my old life. I'm not there anymore. He said the plot of Eden. I said I'm biblical now, right? You pulled a Mace, right? Mace was up there rapping with Diddy. Then he went and became a pastor, right? You pulled a Mace. He said that's my old life. I don't do that anymore. But he said I'm gonna make sure that you know I know what hoes like. That's why
Oh,
they in my garden. He said that I know what they like. I don't live that life anymore, but I know, right? So I love this. I love how it starts because it goes right into the character, right? Of going in line with what we're talking about, sacrilegious figures, people who stand up in front of a congregation trying to preach the good word and different types of morality, but these people have pasts. And a lot of time, the facade that they put on is very artificial. This is the real them. They were doing God knows what in the streets beforehand. So you leading into that character, it's amazing. Um, is there any
thank you.
context missed there?
Yes. So check the polls because the vote is in. And definitely, I love that line and then the juxtaposition. I think the most important is the character that I'm playing, which is like the snake in the story of Eden, or the sinner, the fallen angel, whatever you want to call it. But I think one of the dopest lines in there is, "I know what hoes like. That's why they in my garden." So clearly, of course, the plot of Eden, the land of Eden, the story of Eden, right? And the hose has three, I think two meanings, as far as hose of keeping gardening
Yeah.
supplies in a garden, of course. Hose as in scantily clad people such as Adam and Eve, and I think there was a third one,
Mm,
but we'll let y'all figure that one out. But I really love that first bar just for how deep it can
okay.
go. So
Okay.
thank you.
Heard you. Let's keep going though, because that's just the surface. We ain't even tapped all the way in yet. Now he's getting in the bag. He said again. He's being cheeky. He's brushing y'all off. He's like, stop. That's just the supplementary material. We're not. We haven't even gotten to the nitty and gritty. That's just supplementary material. Commentary on my story turns believers hysterical. That's how it is. Tales as long as the end of a Gyarados of me releasing rainstorms amongst the drunken Yahweh miracles. Nah, stop. Now again, I asked, I receive, provided the structure. Loving all the internal rhymes, supplementary and commentary. Who else do I know that can make supplementary work? And a line and it flows and it doesn't sound out of place. Supplementary material, commentary on my
Yourself.
story turn believers hysterical. Like the biblical text said with the 12 disciples, they're believers now. Then he said tales. So he's going with the same theme, the tale of the 12 disciples. So it's the play on the word tale. Because you got the tale of the story, but then you got the tale at the end of the Gyarados. Now, I'm not going to lie, I didn't know what a Gyarados was when you sent this to me. Because I am not well versed on the Pokemon, okay? But I looked it up then, and I refreshed myself again for this episode just so I knew. Um, Makes sense. Gyarados, so water's flying Pokemon. It's very long, dragon-like, so it works with a long tail. But then it also works because he said releasing rainstorms, and it's a water Pokemon. You shoot water, so it's duality. Tells as long as the end of a Gyarados of me releasing rainstorms amongst the drunken Yahweh miracles, and then brings it back to the biblical references. Come on now.
Yeah, you flatter me. You flatter me heavily. Woo, man! Yes, I love that bar as well. I think you've executed that perfectly. I forgot that rainstorms and Gyarados relate as well. Tails is long. I looked up how long a Gyarados is. It's 20.
There you
Stands
go.
at 21 feet 4 inches tall. That's that's the tales, supplementary tales that you won't hear in these congregations about what this character really does. It would drive everybody crazy. And yeah, like you said, bring it back to the biblical rainstorms amongst the drunken, Yahweh miracles, Yahweh turning it, a water into wine. And if the water is already wine and the people are in it,
Mm,
then they're becoming drunken. And even just the status of the people in general, drunken. Yahweh miracles.
mm.
Ugh.
Man. But
Listen,
that's not it. Because you gotta send the slaughter
we,
all the way out to pasture. So there he says,
yes,
spin
sir.
them like a merry-go. Locked in reflection, staring at me like a mirror ghoul. Hearing screams of the damned in my spiritual. Ah! More bodies in the Trinity that turn these killers into cereal. And then that's it. So I said, I'm done with the verse. I ain't gonna tell y'all nothing else. That's it. I'm leaving it there. You do what you will with the imagery. Spin them like a merry-go is just one of the hardest lines to me because I love when you can. I love when things can be structured in a way where you can interpret the rest. Right? You don't have to have every word. Now, me, I like to work a little bit on the opposite. I like to give you a lot of words to leave no room for ridiculousness, so you know where I'm going. But I don't give you the exact words. I give you other words so you can understand what I'm saying. Here, you're just like, I'm not even going to give you the words. You can piece it together, and I love that. Somebody who was really, really, really good at that, MF Doom, one of all-time best MCs ever. Um, he was really good at subverting your expectation on what next words were going to be. And so that then locked in reflection, staring at me like a miracle. Now this line has a lot of interpretations. It's being locked in your reflection directly. Surface meaning you're looking at yourself in the mirror, duh. But then locked in a reflection, like you are forced to really reflect on your choices and your decisions. The old you, right? Like you said earlier, the old me, the commentary we're not going to talk about. That's the old me. I'm reflecting on that. But then I got to look at the current me as well. And I see that. It's kind of scary sometimes. You know, like the chick from The Ring. She's there. I'm scared of what I'm seeing. Hearing the screams of the damned in my spiritual. So you have an unsettled spirit because you know the old you and the new you, they're not coming together all the time. More bodies than the Trinity to turn these killers into cereal. And then he said, Ida Law said, let me be cheeky too. He said, if you're going to end your verse talking about voulez-vous coucher avec moi, think you cool. He said, I got one too. More bodies in the Trinity to turn these killers into cereal. Hello.
Listen, listen. Thank you, man. Again, you've just rolled out the red carpet for me. Absolutely love this. I remember you telling me frequently that you enjoyed that merry-go line. And I do as well, man. Miracles, miracle, miracle. Oh man, I think that's one of my skills because we've definitely spoken a lot about the skills that you bring to the rhyming world. But whereas mine definitely is finding words that rhyme together and making things rhyme together. You know, miracle, miracle, miracle is like So indefinitely again with this character of absolute evil fallen angel, the one that people blame when things go wrong. The entire verse is, yeah, I did that, but you had a part in it as well. So you're drunken, you're amongst the drunken, spinning around like a merry-go. You're locked in reflection, staring at me, right? Because I am you. And you're saying, how could you do this? Oh my goodness, she's looking at me like I'm a miracle, like I'm the reason for your bad
Mm.
decisions. I'm not. hearing screams of the damned in my
Right.
spiritual. This is what's really going on in the character. More bodies than the Trinity. That'll turn these killers into cereal. So I definitely did plenty of research when I was making this verse to match you. And it's a great, in my personal opinion, line to end on, like you were saying, because the Trinity has three bodies
Right.
in Christian faith, and more bodies are screaming in my spiritual than the Trinity.
Mm.
More than three, that turn these killers into cereal. You put me onto this portion, so I was being cheeky with cereal, saying cereal like the one you eat. When you had said you told me a long time ago these
Mm-hmm.
killers are sweet, because they don't
Right.
understand what I got going on internally as this
Right.
embodiment of ultimate evil or whatever, right? But in order to be considered a serial killer, you have to have
Mm.
killed more than three people.
Mm.
Ugh, Whew. Yeah, yes. So verses full of Easter eggs, fun treats, and things that we may have not even caught upon
Nah,
the
man.
first
I
glance.
you
So
you came up. You were handed the assignment. You were told you have an hour to complete it. You flipped your paper and turned it in 30 minutes. That's all I can say. That's all I can say.
yes, thank you for the opportunity. And the song ends with
Yes,
it
of
leading back
course.
to the hook, and back to
Right.
the hook. And the house of hip hop, yeah. And now listeners are meant to deal with the entirety of the song. So let us ask you, Mr. Songwriter and performer, did this song come out in the way that you had intended?
And so it superseded what I intended. You know, I don't always have big plans. Sometimes just an idea that's to me a throwaway idea, and I'll start writing it. And I'm like, we'll see. This might be cool, might not be. Um, and this just materialized and turned into something so real, so fast. Where for me, it was very much so just going to be a very throwaway idea.
And I thank you for asking me to be a part of that song as well. It was definitely a step out of the comfort zone, but it improved my writing skills 100%. Beautiful.
And that's always the goal. And I also had to say that's how you do a feature. For those of you, that's how you do a fucking feature. Someone's got you doing a feature. That's how you do it. Not that nonsense where y'all show up and start flowing and mumbling and bumbling, making sound effects every 3 seconds. Show up, match energy.
Man, come on, man. Back in my day, man, we didn't have all this colorful hair and
Okay.
rapping about how many, you know what I mean? Like, if hip hop really has turned rainbow, man, like the rainbow hair and stuff, man. It's man, it's not how it was, man. What happened to Chingy? What happened to Chingy, man? Real real
Oh my
rap.
god.
Where's Ja
Oh my
Rule?
god.
What happened to Ja Rule? You know what I'm saying? That's just my two
Yeah.
cents.
Okay.
My
All
two
right.
cents.
You're
Yeah.
babbling now, but that's okay. um. But yeah. No, that was a fantastic track. So let's go ahead and give it the rundown. We got to do the report card. Okay. So, oh man, talk about the idle law verse, man. I gotta give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. And I say that because I mean we went through it. It had the elements of a great feature because that's how you do a great feature. You come in, you're on theme, you're on topic, you add your own energy and essence to it. It flows nicely. The lyrics are there. There's wordplay. It has the things that you need. The only reason I can't rate it higher is it's not long enough. Not that that's your fault. You got to work with the parameters of the track. But I wish it was longer. Because I'm listening, it's like it's there, then it's over. And I'm like, no, I want it more. I want it more. So it's not long enough. So I have to give it an 8.5, which is that's a high B. It's a high B. So that's good.
I'll take it.
It's a B. That's pretty good. That's better than last week. I don't. What was the grade last week? I don't even remember.
Man, it was a
Oh, it was a
7.
C. It was a C
Seven out of
last
10.
week. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right, boom.
Whew. Well, you got me on the hook, man. So I think they're tired of hearing my voice, anyways.
Hey, well, it's It's here. We do the show together, so I ain't got no fucking choice.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you again, my
Oh,
brother.
hey, until the next installment, we will leave you with all that. Um, make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you give that thing a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Shit, just say how you really feel. You know what I mean? As the English brothers say, chirps the ting. I don't know what that means, but it sounds kind of cool. So do that. You know. Um, Last episode, I told them what to say down in the comments. So this episode, what do they need to say?
They need to quote their favorite Ari Lennox line. I'll probably be the first to say making love next to each other.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
wild. Okay.
Spam some trash
Well,
can
yeah.
emojis.
There you go. That's it. Yeah. Spam trash can emojis in the comments or just write the line. Make love by a trash can. Yeah. Spam that. And on that note, we out this thing. Yerp.